Hey, we are back. The Leafs Convo for Oak Ridge Ford in London, Ontario, oakridgeford.com. I'm Norm, along with Mike. We're excited for these Maple brothers who are a win away from taking their first playoff series in, 15, 16,
17 years.
17 years, a 4-0 victory over Les Rats in Game 4 of their first round set, setting up for a potential clincher tomorrow evening back at Scotia Bank Arena. Leafs Nation, the converts, the OGs, extremely excited about the prospects of not only tomorrow's game, but a series with the Winnipeg Jets. But Michael, one step at a time. Good evening.
Good evening, Norm. I think Leaf fans, after that Game 1 hiccup, and obviously the trauma from losing Tavares, they've really recovered, and I think it's the maturation of the core group along with the veterans that have been added that have been key to this team, sort of righting the ship, and now up 3-1. I mean, the Game 4, especially when you can win without your two best players scoring a point. That's especially in the playoffs. That's fantastic. And I mean, you see Kerfoot stepping up in the absence of Tavares, in the absence of Nick Foligno. You see Alex Galchenyuk picked up off the scrap heap by Kyle Dubas, setting up William Nylander for his 4th goal in 4 games, and then setting up Spezza. And then scoring the empty netter against his former team. I mean, that stuff, you can't make it up. It's unbelievable. And then Thornton scores the power play goal, finally contributing. A lot of people were asking for him to be benched because it was back-to-back and, him being a veteran guy. But it all is just falling into place for this team. And I mean, it's not over. Montreal can still come back and win the series, although nobody thinks that. But I think, I think that they have to think that. But right now it looks great.
One game at a time, one period at a time, one shift at a time. This is the Leafs Convo for Oak Ridge Ford in London, Ontario, oakridgeford.com. OG's Converse, thanks so much for joining us in the chat. There are tons of you. We have some comments to get to from our community portion of the Leafs Combo channel on YouTube. You're watching this through YouTube right now, so hit the subscribe button. Thanks a million for the subscribes. Our last plea worked. It has nothing to do with desperation or anything like that. We just feel like, come on board. We're going to have all kinds of content coming at you over the days and weeks to come, so you may as well be notified about it first, and then you also get a chance to be prepared for our live shows. So they've outscored the Habs 12-4. 12 goals against Carey Price, who has stood on his head at times, but he's not able to generate any serious momentum that propels his team. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that the Leafs are just a level or two above the Habs. We knew it from the get-go. The first game was a bit of a scare, but as the series has transpired and opened up a little bit, it's completely evident.
Well, 12 goals in 4 games, but 2 of them were empty netters. So if you consider the fact that that's 2.5 goals per game, that's not terrible. The problem is that Montreal's offense is virtually non-existent. And you can say that's because they're not a deep offensive team. But I do think that the Leafs have played very good defense for most of this series. I mean, Game 1, they lost on a shorthanded goal against. But, I mean, they've had a shutout and they've had 2 1-goal games against. And I think you have to give credit to, obviously, the team defense. You see the forwards dropping down close to the goal line, helping the defense win puck battles, and then hustling the other way. I think the blue line obviously has been much improved this season, but you also have to credit. I mean, Jack Campbell's been fantastic. And the thing is, he's been steady. It's like he hasn't had to make the spectacular save. He's made a couple really good saves, but I think that's a product of the team in front of him, but also doesn't give up a ton of rebounds. He's quiet in the net. He seems confident in what he's doing. It's so far a fantastic performance by Jack Campbell.
So with Game 5, do you foresee a Leaf drubbing of the Habs, setting up a series that we all believe is coming and we should expect is coming against the Jets? Or does that remain to be seen? We are still cautiously optimistic, but slightly skeptical that this team can overcome these hurdles as we progress forward.
Well, I think they can overcome hurdles. I mean, but I don't think it's going to be an easy out. I mean, they're saying all the right things. The fourth victory is the toughest one. They're not taking the Habs lightly. You might think that they should, based on the way they played through 4 games, but I think it's smart to say, we've got to work and hustle, because if you lose this game, then you go back to the Bell Center, giving them life, and they're, the Carey Price could carry them to 3 victories in a row. So I think the Leafs really have to concentrate in Game 5. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a 2-1, 3-2 game. So it's not going to be a blowout of any kind of proportion.
Yeah, I don't see the Leafs losing the series. Would it be efficient, though, to get through this Game 5?
Sure.
Win it, but also achieve something mentally in relation to past failures, winning a round, doing it with authority, doing it on your own terms, and knowing that by accomplishing this feat, you haven't expended too much energy, or you've lost 3-4 guys in order to get to that second round, because for as fun as this has been over the last 3 games in particular, and for what we're expecting to be a triumph here over Les Rats, this journey is really just beginning.
Well, ideally, they would like to gut Montreal in the first period and get up 3-0, but they'll have something to say about it. I mean, the perfect scenario would be the Leafs put away the Habs, put them away early in this game, sort of coast to a victory, and get ready for Winnipeg. Will that happen? I don't know. I think when you consider the desperation is there for Montreal, and they're a heavy team that likes to hit, it's going to be a tough out. It's going to be, Montreal could very easily win the game and go back to Montreal. And I picked Leafs in 6. Well, if that's accurate, then the Leafs lose Game 5. I hope that's not the case. I hope I'm wrong. And the Habs, do not show up, but I think they will.
The Leafs with 3 power play goals in this series. That's 3 power play goals in 4 games. That is exponentially better than the Leafs' performance with the man advantage for a month prior to. Do you see, some confidence being created there, and we're seeing these goals and these chances brought to life by new blood on a unit that we all felt was getting stale, and their lack of production was certainly showing that.
Well, in Game 4, it was the second unit that scored. It was Thornton and Spezza. We've seen Sandin score on one of them. He didn't play in Game 4. I mean, yes, they should have some increased confidence when it comes to the power play actually breaking through, but they're still not operating at the clip that they did early in the regular season. Maybe that's not going to come back, but as long as it's contributing and not allowing shorthanded goals, that'll be the best thing.
So Danny Grinnick, our friend from New England, big Whalers fan. Long live the Whalers, Danny. Surprised by Brooks and Dermott getting the start. Isn't this just part of the complete mosaic of a team showing itself in what is expected to be a long grind? You're going to use everybody.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it was back-to-back was an opportunity to get other players in there, get fresh bodies in there. They substituted Brooks for Riley Nash, who only played like 10 minutes in game 3. So it wasn't because of fatigue. It was wanting to get Brooks in there, and Brooks has played well with Spezza and Thornton on that fourth line late in the regular season. The Dermott one was a little puzzling. I think it could be fatigue because Sandin didn't play all year and now is playing, significant minutes in high pressure situations, and back-to-back situation. They probably thought, okay, let's go with the veteran. Dermott has played with Bogosian all year, so that's a good opportunity to give him a breather. I would think that Sandin is back in for game 5, but maybe after winning 4-0, they'll keep Dermott in there and they'll go back and forth with them.
The Leafs have enough depth, don't they, Mike, to configure the lineup any which way on any given night to compete and succeed?
Well, yeah, I mean that's that is the brilliance of the plan that Dubas put in. Bringing in Riley Nash at the deadline when he was on IR and basically burying him until the beginning of the playoffs, and Foligno and Hutton and everybody they brought in on top of the guys that they signed in over during the off season. So yes, they can withstand. I mean, think about it right now. They've lost their number 2 center, their team captain. They've lost the guy who was replacing their number 2 center, a team captain from another team.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Foligno might be back on Thursday, but they might say, okay, we won without him in game 4 and game 3. Why don't we just let him sit and let him be healthy and let him get healthy for the Winnipeg series? The only risk there is, again, Montreal, you can't take them lightly. So if Foligno can play, I think he will play. But I wonder whether they'll rest him and save him for Winnipeg.
OG's converts, what have you seen in the Habs that would indicate that come game 5, that group will explode and just dominate the blue and white? Have you seen anything in this series that makes you concerned, even afraid for what might come over the next 24, 48 hours? Have that discussion. Masidakis, nothing. Habs to have nothing. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, Mike, because we do certainly know that the Leafs have blown leads and blown opportunities in the past. It just feels different. I'm looking at a Habs team that isn't exactly demoralized, because I don't know if they ever as a group felt like they were on the same playing field as the Leafs, talent for talent. And I'm not kicking them to the curb. I just don't think they're there yet. And I think the Leafs, it might not be their time to win a Stanley Cup, but I do believe it's their time to progress forward. A few other things I want to talk about, address that, and we'll start bringing up some names.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, I think the Habs are not lying to themselves. I think they know that they're playing against a team that is better than them. But again, you don't have to. You can be the less talented team and still win.
Mm-hmm.
So that I think that they have to be careful. Brad in the chat is talking about Caulfield and Suzuki. They do have a couple talented players. They have more than a few. Toffoli has been non-existent this series. I can remember many Leaf team when they were making the playoffs back in the 80s and 90s, when they're down 3-1, coming back and winning that game 5 and forcing a game 6. So, I think they just need to be cognizant of that.
Okay. We're talking about game 5 as if it's the catapult or the leaping ground, the leaping off point for the second round.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it is what it is. Foligno, maybe rest them. You've got other guys who can fill the spots and do admirably. No points from Marner in the last 2 games or last game. People who dislike him think he hasn't really shown up in the series. He has 3 points, assisted on the game winner in game 3. He looks a little wacky out there, but he'll come around. Austin Matthews doesn't have a point in 2 games. But you're looking at the rest of the guys picking up the slack and doing their job. Not so much, hey, the top guys aren't scoring, so we had better. No, it's a blend throughout the lineup. It's an opportunity for everybody to contribute and play a role, because that's the point of putting a competitive, solid, layered team together for this moment, that all of these guys will contribute. So with that said, and I know I'm probably the only one thinking this, if the Leafs go up a few goals in this game and look as if they have command, can you not put Freddie Anderson in there to play a period? Is that a charity, an insult to this guy, or can you not get him on the ice to give him a chance to feel good about himself, whether if it's novel or not?
Okay,
give the guy an opportunity to play.
First of all, not a chance in hell. Not a friggin' chance in hell. Because, okay, what are you telling Jack Campbell? You're telling Jack Campbell, okay, we're hedging our bet.
No.
Yeah,
that's not what I mean by
right.
it.
I believe that. No,
is he that immature? Like,
no, no. But you don't understand the psyche of goaltenders, and that's what I'm saying. It's
that's right. Because I remember you did have a spell in the '80s in the W. No, I understand. I get it. You understand what? Yeah, hey, that shutout against the Kings was amazing. You still lost, but just give the guy an opportunity to play. What happens if Campbell gets hurt and he has to get dropped in? Then what? He's everybody's best friend.
Then that's his opportunity to play. You're not good. This is not the regular season where you can give him a period. This is the playoffs. I don't care. If you're, I don't care if you're up 6-1. You're not letting him in. No.
Okay, that's that.
That's it.
You're watching it, guys. Mike's quitting the podcast. He's sad enough.
No. I'm just resolute in my belief that right now, and believe me, there's nobody that's been a bigger Freddie Anderson backer than me. But right now, you have the hot goaltender. I mean, if they didn't play Freddie Anderson in a back-to-back situation with Campbell, having injury history, then they're never going to play him unless he gives up 5 goals and they have to pull him. They're never playing him.
I'm on an island with this one. Complete island. And I'm by myself. What was the name of the Tom Hanks movie where he's on the island and the plane crashes?
Castaway.
That's me talking to a hockey puck because I have no friends after suggesting that Freddie Anderson be given a chance to participate. Hey, if it's Campbell for the entire 16 wins, so be it. If it's not, I don't know if the Leafs win 16. Freddie Anderson, enjoy watching the team you once led be led by someone else. This is the way she goes. The leader right now on this team, from an offensive standpoint and a spiritual standpoint, is number 88.
Dr. Nylander. He's making a house call. I have to lay this out. William Nylander in 4 games has been brilliant. He's been great. And this is what he's doing right now is the reason that he is so annoying and aggravating as a player, because he's capable of this. Mm-hmm. He really, yes, Caleb. He will not be traded after this series because you can't make trades during the playoffs.
Mike, you stole it from me. Hey, he's got 4 goals, okay, but other guys have goals too.
Right.
He's got 4 goals, and I hope he scores a ton of goals and is in the mix for the Conn Smythe when the Leafs go all the way. Okay, but it's the energy in the play, it's the determination, right? William Nylander will never want to take a hit, and his faction, right? The cult of Nylander will say, "Why would you want to take a hit?" Right? Why would you want to take it? If it means even giving the other team the puck or an opportunity to take the puck, why would you want to take a hit? I mean, it's the smartest thing to do. So there are some things that he lacks from a physical standpoint. He's just not a physical kind of guy, but he makes up for it in a lot of other ways. And when he's scoring,
Yes.
And he is, with that nifty stick doing defensive things. The other stuff isn't as big a deal. That becomes exacerbated by, the other stuff is blown up and possibly out of proportion when he's not scoring, when he's not doing other things. And we know that the faction will still blame everybody else for Nylander not doing well. Right now, the guy's on fire. It's great. It's great. This is the point. When he scores goals, you don't need to look to Marner and say he sucks or Nylander should be playing with Matthews because he's elite. Nylander's scoring goals because that's what the Leafs need him to do. And that's what he's capable of doing. So let's enjoy it. Let's hope it continues. And let's hope that when Nylander can't score, one of the other guys will score in his place, or Nylander will facilitate someone else to score. This is good. And with your two best players not really producing a hell of a lot right now, this is good. The other guys and the vets and the contributors helping this team get through the first round as unscathed as possible, so that when shit really hits the fan, your top guys will have to come to the fore, because that's why they make the millions, and that's probably what they're waiting for. Serious. It's true.
Yeah, I just, I give him credit for, making the plays and scoring the goals. He's been fantastic. And you're right, different line mates every game. He's had to be more of a sniper than a facilitator because Tavares is not there. Tavares usually is the trigger guy, and sometimes they'll set up Nylander, but in this instance he has to be the trigger guy, and that's really helped the Leafs out, because I think Danault has had a history of doing a pretty decent job on Matthews in terms of a matchup. It's tough sometimes, and I actually think Marner's had a pretty good series. The one night he played 27 minutes. He's penalty killing, power play.
Yeah.
He's all over the place. Keefe uses him in every scenario.
He's a lightning rod like Nylander, but that is society now. That is what social media is about. That's what the younger fan base is about. Our guy versus the other guy, even if they're on the same team. I don't come from that way of thinking, playing team sports and stuff. You're going to have some stars carry the day, other guys contribute, and then they'll get their time. Everybody gets an opportunity. It's just different now, right? And it's just, ever since the was it a holdout, or when was it 2018 when things didn't go right with Nylander and he was kind of waiting to get his money, things changed. He became a pariah. But right now, it would be nice if we could have a détente. Look that word up if you don't know what it means, and come together as a group. This should be fun as a collective. Like, I don't give a shit. Marty Marinson, Mike Augello's favorite defenseman of all time, right behind Doug Harvey and Bobby Orr.
Don't
Ally Afraidy.
Don't even mention. I want to answer.
No, hold on a second. If Marinson scores the game winner in some game, you're not going to turn around and go F that guy. You're going to go, that's amazing. Now send them back to the press box.
Right.
This is an opportunity for everybody to do well for this team, because the goal is to win a Stanley Cup as a team. It's not to have William Nylander win his Stanley Cup and everybody else, shower him with praise, or Austin Matthews by divine right finally reach the zenith. This is for the group. This is for us. And guys like Nylander are killing it right now. I hope it continues. I think he's going to score another one tomorrow. It might be the game winner.
I hope so. Just to answer Jeffrey's question that was up before, the smiling with Matthews in the scrums, I think, is just sort of, I think it was Jamie McLennan or Jeff O'Neill on Overdrive say that's just a reflection of the fact that he thinks that these scrums are stupid, that, like he's getting pulled into something by Shea Weber because Shea Weber's trying to, physically impose on him. He's like, I'm not doing crap. He says, I'm not doing anything here. He's basically trying to mug me. So I don't think the grin on his face is pathetic. I think the grin on his face is sort of a commentary on what's going on in the scrum, and that's the only thing the Habs can do to stop him is to wear him down. So, I don't put too much stock.
You know what that grin is, Mike? He's telling viewers, many of them who are Habs fans, that this team that the Leafs are taking on right now is not worth the aggravation. if it's not all on the line against these guys, they're not going to piss him off to the extent we're going to turn around and throw mitts or do something that he doesn't normally do because he's desperate to find an outlet for his frustration. They're not, Mike, your first round opponent is not worth risking it all.
No, but what to your point, what Montreal wants is for
exactly
him to respond. So he's not going to get pulled into it. Whenever he gets into one of those scrums, he tries to skate away because it's just not something that he should get involved in at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Scuba Steve in the community portion of the YouTube channel going, understanding that Habs are a solid club that can still win, but also considering sports are supposed to be fun. Gun to your head, okay? Who would you rather get the series winner? Willie, so 5-5, or Foligno, well, scores his first as a Leaf and comes through in Game 5 just like his dad did way back when. That would be an interesting story. I don't think young fans today could give two shits about anything past 2 weeks ago. It's recency bias. A lot of the history stuff we bring up, it's a complete disconnect. No one gives a shit. But William Nylander scoring to his 5th goal in 5 games to win it, that would be
honestly, I don't care. I don't care who scores it as long as somebody scores it.
But there's a gun to your head, Mike. Which would you go with?
I don't care.
Hey, it's our friend Scuba Steve.
Shoot.
I don't know. What's that?
Shoot. Go ahead. If you have a gun to my
head. Hey, this is the night version of the Leafs Convo, and we're having an absolute blast. The Leafs put it away tomorrow, right? They do it. They put it away. Gun to your head, Mike.
I hope so. I have no. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, sorry. What is it? What's the one thing that? What is the one thing that's lingering there, that is still bugging you about this team? That
history.
Okay.
History. Well, it's like it's Murphy's Law. Whenever something can go wrong, it does. And that's, I hope they win. They win. Because I have, as a fan and as somebody who covers a team, it's much more interesting to write about a team having some success and going into the second round of the playoffs and playing Winnipeg than doing the postmortem on another season and talking about, what they're going to do in terms of trades and free agency and I mean, I'm going to do it either way, but it would be nice for the first time in 17 years for them to win a round and to go and have some hope of winning another round and then having some hope of winning another round. It's nice to have some success after a while, but the reason I'm sort of just like nonplussed in terms of, what their prospects are against Montreal in Game 5 is history. So I will be very pleased when they win this series, but until they actually do, I'm going to expect something bad to happen.
Tony's Dark Nightmares. That sounds like a podcast that I'd subscribe to. Montreal is done. Bring on Winnipeg. There's still 60 minutes of hockey, potentially more, to go against Les Rats. And if there's a lot more than 60 minutes, then you know that the Leafs have some things to accomplish personally, and that's putting the skate blade to the collective throats of Les Rats and getting, figuratively violent. Just going through some of the series, Mike, obviously Winnipeg dust the Oilers. We can pick over the carcass of the Oilers and just grab Connor McDavid out and put him in blue and white, and we set fire to the rest of the debris. But what the hell's wrong with that organization?
They don't seem to follow the rules when it comes to putting a team together and putting the right pieces together. Lou Lamoriello, a few years ago, when he took over as general manager of the Leafs, the first thing he did was trade for Frederik Andersen and provided stability in goal. Obviously, Edmonton hasn't learned that because they keep signing Mikko Koskinens and bringing in Mike Smith, who's like Methuselah. That's how old he is. I mean, you know, the key for Ken Holland is find yourself a goaltender, then find yourself a couple defensemen, then find yourself about 3-4 forwards who can provide some support to Connor McDavid.
Can they settle him down and convince him that this will be the place for him ultimately? Because if you're him and you're as great as you are, like, how does being around a bunch of civs in an organization that traditionally demonstrates ineptitude more than excellence, how does that not start to weigh you down, right?
Well, right now he's not at the Jack Eichel stage, but I think another year of failure and he's going to be saying, "Get me out of Dodge." So
yeah, okay. Who would you rather see in the series first, Marty Marinson or Freddie Anderson?
Stop it, please.
Come on, man. That was my question. That wasn't from the chat. But you want to see Marty Marinson, right? It would make.
If he's selling popcorn outside the Scotiabank Arena, fine.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to go through the other series, but legit, my phone is going to die, and I don't want this amazing gathering that we've had tonight to end in a sad fashion. So I think we're going to have to wrap her up. OG's Converse, thanks so much for being here. If you're watching this on YouTube later, you missed out on all the fun, but you're watching the recap. And if you're listening to us on podcast, which many of you do, try subscribing to the YouTube channel. Catch us live. You can see our ugly faces, and then listen to us when you're on a jog or doing workout or, you know, raging or whatever you do. So I'm excited for Game 5, Mike. I think the Leafs win. I think Nylander scores another one. And then it's on to Winnipeg, man. That's going to be a completely different series. And we may see another set of Leafs players that have been laying in wait come to the fore and get it done. Some group of players are going to have to do that if the Leafs want to progress into the United States and get to the semifinals for the first time since 2001? 2. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. For Mike, I'm Norm. Guys, thanks so much. Talk to you soon.